A blade rests on a chest bone, cut perfectly straight, sharper than anything else in the grave, sharper than anything found again for 2,000 years. This grave sits in a valley in Ice Age Europe. Everything else here is ordinary, simple stone flakes, rough hand axes, the usual toolkit of the time, except for one blade resting on the chest of one man. It's snapped with a precision that shouldn't exist yet, symmetrical edges, a consistent angle, repeated dozens of times down the spine. That kind of control takes a technique researchers don't expect to see for another 60 generations. So, where did it come from? At first, the assumption is simple: a mistake, wrong layer, contamination. A tool from later dropped into an older site, but the dating doesn't move. Same soil, same era, same hands that buried the rest of the grave. So they test the blade itself under a microscope, tracing every strike mark. And it gets stranger. The wear pattern shows this wasn't practice. It wasn't the first attempt, or the 10th. The maker's hand was already sure. Which means somewhere off the record there were failures. Dozens of them. Someone spent years chasing this, and nobody else in the valley left behind a single fragment of that same skill. So the researchers ask the obvious question: who was this person to everyone else? They go back to the grave itself, not just the blade, the body, and the position is wrong, off. Every other burial in the region faces the same direction, close to the fire pits, close to the rest of the group. This one is set apart, alone at the edge of the site, facing outward, toward the open valley. Not disrespect, the grave is careful, lined with stones, layered with red ochre, but distant. Whoever buried this person treated them with reverence, and also kept them apart, as if the same hands that made something impossible were feared for it, or protected for it, or both. Here's where the story turns cold. Archaeologists checked the rest of the valley for more blades like it, site after site, layer after layer, for 100 miles. Nothing. Not a single other tool made with that technique. Not one imitation. Not one failed copy. For a skill this advanced to appear once and never again, that's not how knowledge normally moves. Technique spreads. Children copy parents. Rivals steal secrets. Somebody always tries, unless the person who knew it never showed anyone how. So why hide it? There are only a few reasons a person guards a skill instead of teaching it: power, fear, grief, or the simple human reflex to keep the one thing that makes you matter. We'll never know which one this was, but we know the ending. The technique doesn't appear again in that valley for 2,000 years. Not refined, not passed down, not even attempted. It just goes quiet. The same day this person is laid in the ground. We like to imagine that genius survives on its own, that brilliance finds its way forward, generation after generation. This grave says otherwise. Somewhere in that valley, one mind solved a problem the rest of the species wouldn't solve again for 2,000 years, and it still wasn't enough, because knowledge doesn't survive by being brilliant, it survives by being given away. And this person, for whatever reason, never let it go.